Let's jump right into the Rotoworld
Tampa.
headlines here, and starting with a pretty big one. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah reports the Titans are a team to keep an eye on to move up to the number 3 overall pick. It's been obvious conversation, guys, that this could be a quarterback draft if Arizona moves out of that spot. We know Ryan Tannehill on the last year of his deal. This would be a big move.
It would be a big move, and it sort of says two things, right? I mean, I think most people expect the first 2 quarterbacks to be in some order, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young.
Yep.
Yes.
So basically, and I think that most other people, and Connor, this is your skill set here specifically, but like feels like that the 2 quarterbacks that are the most NFL ready are those 2 guys. That whether it's Levis, whether it's Richardson, whether it's
even Hendon Hooker,
right, exactly. That they're all sort of projects. So for Tennessee to move up to 3, they're like, hey, we're going to draft one of those guys, maybe Richardson, that's going to be somebody that can develop under Tannehill for a year. So I think it's really interesting. I don't think it would affect how we feel about the Titans this year, because again, whoever they draft is likely backing up Ryan Tannehill. Unless somehow miraculously Stroud or Young falls. I don't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
But I think it says 2 things. I think it does feel like, the end is near for Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. And also just a complete lack of confidence in Malik Willis.
Yes.
Who last year, all people were saying, like, a lot of the same things, again, sort of different players in terms of how they're built, but a lot of the things you were saying about Malik Willis is what people are saying about Anthony Richardson this year, which is, like unbelievable athletic talent, incredible upside, but raw and needs to develop. And feels like, Malik Willis got a cup of coffee last year and just felt like wasn't ready for prime time, Connor.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a new GM there in Rand Carthon who can afford to make this move. He could trade future picks and let a quarterback season there behind Tannehill, and he has time. And, when you look at the difference between them, number 1 and 2, when you hear Vrabel talk about Malik Willis last year, they were just terrified to put him on the field. They were not comfortable with that. So I think there's no ties to this GM and this regime.
With a playoff berth on the line, they started Josh Dobbs.
Like
I love Josh Dobbs, but
Yes.
But I mean, Josh Dobbs had been there for literally he was still learning guys' names.
That's
Wait, where's my locker? And they were like, well, forget your locker. You've got to go now start a playoff game. Like, he had just gotten there.
I don't know why people are so obsessed with not loving Ryan Tannehill. What's wrong with Ryan Tannehill? Why is Ryan Tannehill worse than Daniel Jones or Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo, guys who just got deals? Tannehill's fine.
He's not. He's totally fine. I agree with you. He is a completely fine and competent quarterback. It's just, for whatever reason, feels like they're out on him, whether they feel like his career is ending. By the way, this could be smoke.
But you see all those guys you just named, they're on new teams now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And I saw a tweet earlier about the highest paid quarterbacks for this season. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 2 is Ryan Tannehill. Okay, so there you go. When you put it in that perspective,
right,
then it makes sense. And just a quick note, the Titans are one of the 5 or 6 teams that Anthony Richardson will be having a visit with too.
And I love that fit. And you look at why not Tannehill. Well, you're at a crossroads. You extend him now at age 35 coming off injuries, or you just let him play out the expiring deal with a guy like Richardson behind him, and maybe that's what they're thinking. Let's take a look at the draft order to show what kind of leap this would be. And Lawrence, I'll throw this to you as well with the draft order. If not the Titans, we know Arizona is completely in on selling this pick. Is there another team that you would like to see jump up and make that move for what we are presuming is to get ahead of the Colts for Richardson, as he's kind of really the consensus QB3 now?
Yeah, look, you got the Raiders there. You got the Falcons there. The Seahawks is a name that a lot of people talk about. That is not one of the teams that has yet to schedule a visit with Anthony Richardson.
And they met the other quarterbacks.
Yes, right. Now, that doesn't mean everything, but he's meeting with the Ravens as well. So the Seahawks not being in that group makes me like the Raiders here, the Falcons, even the Lions. The Lions could be in play. Now it'll be a different situation for a guy like Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, as to where you know they not starting right off the bat. On the Raiders and the Falcons, that could be, well, even the Raiders too, you got Jimmy G, but on the Falcons, that'll be a different story. They'll battle out there. So I like those particular teams. And then you got the Commanders out there too.
There we go, Matthew Berry.
Matthew.
Look, I mean, honestly, I think it's unlikely, but if a sale happens and a new owner comes in, taking over for Daniel Snyder, whether it's the Josh Harris group, whether it's the Canadian billionaire whose last name I can't pronounce yet, whether one of the, if he buys the team, I'll learn how to pronounce it, and if he doesn't, then whatever. It's I'm Team Josh Harris at the moment. Anyway, but the fact of the matter is that you could see new ownership saying like, "Hey, I want to make a splash. Go up, go get me one of these guys."
Right.
So you could certainly see that, right? I don't think that's likely to happen. I think if they were going to make it's more likely maybe they try to figure out something for Lamar. I keep holding out hope. It's dimming every day, But anyway, I think to your point, somebody's gonna jump up there. Like it's too tantalizing.
To me, the Colts are the most interesting team in the draft because they're at 4, and so it's likely that Stroud and Young are going to be gone. Looks like Richardson will probably be gone because someone will trade up to 3. Now, it could be Indianapolis who does that, but at the same time, they're going to be 4, and it's like, Will Levis trade for Lamar Jackson? Because they've got pieces. That defense is good. You've got Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson.
And they can't afford to miss. I mean, how many shots is Chris Ballard going to get at getting
Well,
that quarterback?
100%. And by the way, I mean, let's be clear, right? I mean, but it's one of those things that's like whether it's Richardson or Levis, whoever they draft is a project, right? So, like, to your point, this is a team that's built to sort of win now. Like, and that was the idea when they've tried for the last 2 years with Wentz and Matt Ryan, quarterbacks that they thought were like, guys that could take them to the next level, professional NFL quarterbacks. And obviously neither guy worked out. But we don't expect Richardson or Levis to be that guy either for this year.
It'll be Gardner Minshew.
Might be right now. It's Gardner Minshew. God bless.
Let's continue on with the potential quarterback carousel. Here's an interesting one. Bill Belichick non-committal about Mac Jones starting in 2023. And as we were getting ready for this show, guys, our own Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk said his sources have told him Belichick has actually shopped Mac Jones to multiple teams this offseason. So Bailey Zappi show maybe looming or something bigger for New England.
Potentially. I mean, New England is one of the teams that have been sort of rumored to be in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. Intrepid reporter Meek Mill, breaking
we got to get
news.
him on here.
What?
We got to get him on here.
Yes,
because he knows.
I don't personally know Meek. If one of you could text him and we get him on here, that'd be great.
I'll hook that up.
We could do that. Would be great. But we love Meek here. We are a pro Meek Mill show. I will say that this doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And what's weird is that, by the way, if the Commanders traded for Mac Jones, I'd be in on it. I like Mac Jones. Like I think the offense for New England last year was a complete mess, and I don't think that was all necessarily Mac Jones's fault. Like I think there was confusion among the play calling. I didn't think they really had an offensive identity, if you will. A lot of pieces in and out in terms of who was hurt, in terms of the receivers, in terms of the running backs. Like they just didn't have a lot going on. I still think Mac Jones is a solid NFL quarterback, not a fantasy option, but a solid NFL quarterback. But I don't think it matters for our purposes, whether it's Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones under center for the Patriots. It does not matter fantasy-wise. The only time it gets interesting is if they wind up with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we need it to get better, essentially, is what it would be.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
losing him, they're not going to go down, like you said.
Yeah,
what we saw last year.
Right, and the truth is that there's no Patriot, guys. You guys tell me, but other than Ramondre Stevenson, is there any New England Patriot that you're interested in remotely? Like, I think you could make a Hunter Henry argument if you're desperate at tight end as like a high end tight end too, a touchdown dependent tight end too. But other than that, there are other slot receivers I'd rather have than Juju Smith-Schuster and where he's going to go. Yeah. None of the other receivers are interesting to me, Lawrence.
Look how we talked about Juju leading up to last season. That's because he had Patrick Mahomes. We ain't about to be talking about him to say whether it's Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones. Now, if it was Lamar, then we talking about him, right? And we definitely would be talking about Hunter Henry, right? Because of Lamar and the Mark Andrews. But we good.
Yeah, I'm buying Mac Jones stock. Buying it at a low point right now. Buying Mac Jones stock, Russell Wilson stock. Mac Jones is fantastic his rookie season.
I agree.
And he was better than his numbers. He got a lot of drop, bad luck, a lot of interception, bad luck. Mac Jones is a good quarterback and he'll land on his feet.
Not a great offense in terms of scheme and play calling.
Yeah, Patricia,
it's pretty hard to go lower than that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Speaking of non-committal, Bengals Executive Vice President Katie Blackburn, when asked if Joe Mixon would be the team's starting running back in 2023, she said, "Right now he's on the team, and we are going to count on him until that wouldn't be the case." Jay, Not exactly the vote of confidence that you typically hear for a guy that's been, their franchise
By the
running back
way,
for a couple of years.
that's the exact quote that NBC said about me. By the way, he's asked about me.
He's on the
Matthew
team.
Berry is currently on our roster. Yes, he is currently. He currently has a show for Peacock. Yes.
And until he doesn't,
right? Yeah, exactly.
We're not talking about.
No, correct.
Yeah, so Joe Mixon's not going to be on the Bengals.
Yes, it really feels that way.
He's
it really
gone.
does.
No, he's gone. No, he's not coming back after
Well,
that.
they save over. If they get rid of, if they trade him or release him, I think he's especially if it's a post June 1st cut, they save over $7 million in the cap. Right? And you think about this team; they're trying to get a long-term deal with T. Higgins done.
Yeah.
They know they're going to have to pay up for Jamar Chase here coming up soon. They want to get a big deal done for Joe Burrow, who's looking around and seeing all these contracts as well. Like they've got a lot of money they know they have to spend, and so Mixon feels expendable, especially at that price tag. When you think about how much production they got out of Samaje Perine. Now, Perine, obviously on the Denver Broncos, we're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show, but the fact is that they've shown that whoever is sort of the starting running back of that offense can be productive for them. Now, they don't have a lot on the roster right now. Chris Evans, Travion Williams. I've always sort of loved Travion Williams. I'm a Texas A&M guy.
Yes,
I'm a Texas A&M guy. I believe when
this
he came,
is the year?
he was the leading rusher in the SEC.
Talk
the
him
year
up,
he came
baby.
out.
Talk him up.
I'm
Let's
just
go.
saying.
Let's
Talk
go.
him up, baby. Let's go.
The man was the leading rusher in SEC history when he came out, right? That is a fact. So it's the SEC, Lawrence. So we ain't talking like
listen,
the
I'm an
ACC
SEC guy. I'm with you now.
All right.
I'm with you.
There's a lot of great running backs that came out of the SEC, and Travion Williams. Anyway, I've always had a soft spot for Travion Williams. My guess is that they either draft somebody or Ezekiel Elliott. That's been one of the places that he's been rumored to go.
Both.
Maybe Leonard Fournette. There's a couple of veterans out there that you could see landing there and suddenly having a lot of fantasy value. Whoever is the starting running back for the Bengals.
If Bijan Robinson goes there, all of a sudden it's the greatest fantasy team of all time.
Absolutely.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson would be madness.
That would be something.
And I think that's where you root for Bijan Robinson to go right now. When you look at the first round, that's the place where he walks in and he's a superstar instantly. He's probably a superstar wherever he goes, but the touches and the workload in a great offense, that's the one with the ceiling.
And your big
100%.
board is coming up later,
Yes.
Connor.
Yes,
We'll
it
get
is.
into that.
Bijan Robinson guy, pretty decent player. All right, we'll keep it moving here. The Odell Beckham courting chase continues on, the longest courting we've ever seen for a free agent wide receiver. And now the Ravens are involved. Per Adam Schefter, they have made Odell an offer. We don't have details of the offer, of course.
Is it to play quarterback?
That's the thing. Very interesting. Is he signing on there when they don't even know if Lamar Jackson will be there? The Jets are the second team to have also made an offer. So not a lot of teams in this one right now, Lawrence, and it kind of has felt like Odell's been waiting to see that Rodgers trade to go through, but it's interesting another team finally officially in.
Odell probably waiting on two guys, either Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, because neither the Jets or the Ravens have their quarterback on their, they're technically on the roster,
Locked in.
but neither one of them are happy there.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So if Lamar was there and everything was all good, Odell probably would have signed with them already. Same could be said with
the Jets and Rodgers.
the Jets and Rodgers, right? Odell Beckham, for Lamar, that would be the best receiver he's ever had, right? And he's still kind of living off of that late season run with the Rams, which was legit. He was going on to be Super Bowl MVP, so you feel good about him in either one of those spots, even though it's not 10 or 12 teams lined up to get him.
Well, you're also right, because when you make the decision to sign Odell Beckham, it's a couple things. Number one is, right, can he be as effective? Yes, he was effective with the Rams.
Yeah.
But they had to deal with Cooper Kupp, and not everyone's got a play caller like Sean McVay. So you're dealing with that. Secondly, he's a year and a half older. He's had a major injury. And this is somebody that, by the way, was not productive in Cleveland, was up and down in New York. He is a big name. He's a famous player. But he's also if you're a general manager, you're a head coach, you sign on Odell Beckham, I get the talent, but there's also some headaches, right? There's a lot of paparazzi, there's a lot of media, and you're just do I need that? Maybe if you're the Jets and Aaron Rodgers saying get me somebody elite, but if I'm the Jets, I'm it's already going to be a circus with freaking Aaron Rodgers in town. Do I want to add to that?
Wouldn't
Maybe.
that be something? Odell and Aaron Rodgers.
In New York.
That's why we need that.
In New York media.
We need that.
Yeah, listen.
Get
this
that
one,
for Connor. We
this-
got
oh,
challenging
this
them
one.
at pressers.
This one's man. Like I'm going to have when I do my SNY pregame show, it's literally going to just say 2 lines
It's
on
written
the
for
rundown.
me. I don't even have to do any pregame work anymore.
100%. It's
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham, Aaron Rodgers. That's all it is.
Can't ask for an easier year.
Yeah,
No.
Aaron, Odell, and Connor. It's like LeBron, Wade, and Bosch. That's
Yes,
what I-
exactly.
Which one am I in
You're
there?
Bosch.
I had a feeling I was not
Bosch.
getting the weight of
Unfortunately, you're
LeBron
Bosch.
treatment.
Yeah. Yep, CB.
But anyway, so I mean, like, I personally think at this point, and again, let's see where he lands. But I will just say, I think at this point, Odell Beckham Jr. is a much bigger name than fantasy impact player
Absolutely.
at this point. He'll be,
Yeah.
he is likely to be overdrafted because of the name.
Be good for football.
Yes.
For football purposes. Because, like, if you got Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham as your 2 receivers, like, that's great for football purposes.
Yeah, no, 100%. Listen, the NFL is more fun with Odell in it. I'm just, for our
Definitely,
purposes, So I'm with you. Anyway.
You know what was fun? Last week, the whole Trey Lance, Brock Purdy back and forth between Barry and Jay. And we did get to hear from Kyle Shanahan this week on that exact topic, saying Trey Lance has a chance.
Before we play,
and we're going to hear from Shanahan.
Before we play for Kyle, I just want to reset for anyone that missed. Basically, Jay couldn't understand why Brock Purdy had earned the right after he went undefeated.
That's correct.
He didn't understand
man.
why Brock Purdy had earned the right to be the starter, which is what John Lynch called him. Jay questioned that. Anyway, so Jay questioned that.
Questioning.
I questioned Jay.
And the media is questioning Kyle Shanahan.
Let's see what he said.
Jimmy got hurt and opened it up for Brock, and Brock played 8 games and won all of them and played at an extremely high level. And we're very excited to have that level of a player as our quarterback. Now, we believe Trey can be that. I think he would have done it last year if he stayed healthy. The good thing for him is with Brock being hurt and stuff, he has an opportunity to try to regain that and everything. And that's also why we brought in Sam, because we can't be set for sure on Brock because you never know how the injury will go. We think it will go well, and we're optimistic about it, but right now that's on hold. And so it opens up an opportunity for Trey and for Sam to come in and show us what they have.
Can a guy like Trey win the job without playing games, whereas Brock, what he did was on the field?
I think it's going to be harder for him too. I mean, Brock played in 8 games, and Trey had that job going into last season, and if he would have played 8 games like that, no one else would have been able to come in and beat him out. But with Brock being hurt, it does open him up and does give him a chance.
That feels like Kyle Shanahan is #Team Matthew.
Firstly,
That's what I heard.
I like Shanahan's look. It's kind of like Paul Rudd meets David Duchovny in Californication. Kind of this like very kind of laid back vibe.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that. Secondly, there's not much track record for a guy being drafted 3rd overall and not getting a chance to fail, is all I'm saying. And Brock Purdy came in and he was great and he went 8-0 as a starter. I get it. He's also not perfect. He throws some balls up for grabs, and I just think that I was surprised that they were so emphatic that it is Brock Purdy's job when Lance just hasn't had a chance to fail yet and they use so much draft equity on him. I just thought it would have been more of a camp battle, and seemingly it's not.
Right. Well, no. I mean, he just said he said it's a camp battle. He said it's a camp battle between Trey and Sam Darnold. I mean, like that's. I mean, like literally, just so you know, like 3rd overall pick, and they're just like, oh, and that's why we brought in Sam. Not like, hey, we have he's going to have the opportunity to potentially, like, I mean, how many caveats could Shanahan fit into one sentence? He'll potentially have the opportunity to possibly, maybe compete, to maybe possibly. I mean, like.
I just think that there are reasons why Lance was the 3rd overall pick, even if you disagree with them.
Ceiling's higher.
Were there reasons that Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft, Connor?
I mean, absolutely. With Purdy, he was a 4-year starter in college, and he kind of went like this, and unfortunately ended on a downward trend. And what's that?
Let me keep going now. That 4-year starter thing.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you, Lawrence.
it was
Skewing a team.
and
Crouch.
did not end very well. And decision making was always the problem with Brock Purdy. The reason they drafted Trey Lance or moved up to get Trey Lance and took him instead of Mac Jones was it brought a running element to an offense that is beautifully scripted up. And if you add a running element at the quarterback position to the Niners offense with Shanahan, you think that it's really limitless there. But like you said, Jay, unfortunately for Trey Lance, he hasn't been able to stay healthy and develop on that timeline.
What do you got, Lawrence?
And so I like that Brock Purdy started them many games in college. The thing about it is when Trey Lance plays, Brock Purdy has more NFL experience than him right now, going into year 2 and 3, and he's done it at a much higher level than Trey Lance.
Yeah.
The pick at this point that is the further you get along, to me, that matters less and less. In fact, the 49ers could be feeling like, well, damn, in the back of their mind, like we might have missed here. But it doesn't matter because we hit on the 7th round pick who we went undefeated with all the way to the NFC Championship. If these two dudes was completely healthy right now, you could tell how he's talking. It would easily be Brock Purdy.
I think,
go ahead.
To me, the thing is that, so with Brock Purdy, like, there's not that much ceiling there. There's a reason he was the last pick, and yes, he's going to be a very capable steward, and maybe that's all that offense needs. And look, Kyle Shanahan knows a lot more about the team and everything than I do. I'm wearing the same clothes as Lawrence. I don't really know what's going on. But with Trey Lance,
tell you apart.
Trey Lance has incredible upside, and I would have thought that giving him a chance, letting him fail, and then bringing Brock in, that might lead to the higher upside opportunities. But it seems like Brock's the guy.
Right. And two things I think it's important here. First off, I think if Jay had been running the Patriots, Tom Brady never would have gotten on the field. 6th round pick.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You don't have the upside. I'm sorry.
Like
6th round pick.
True.
I'm stick with Bledsoe. Right, exactly.
Higher upside.
But beyond that, I think yes. But I wonder if Kyle Shanahan learned something last year, which is like they wanted him to. He had higher upside with Trey Lance. They were going to give it to him, be a running team, and just do all that zone read stuff. But then when Lance got hurt and Garoppolo came in, and they just started winning, right? And then Brock Purdy, who's kind of Garoppolo-like, right? I mean, and he's just like, and maybe Kyle Shanahan's like, you know what my team needs? They just need somebody like that. They can just, our offense is good enough. We now have McCaffrey, so we now have an element that we didn't have when we drafted Trey Lance in terms of, versatility. Debo is Debo. Like, we have a bunch of different guys that we can create mismatches with, so maybe we don't need the running element. We just need somebody who can run the offense competently. That's what we had in Garoppolo, and that's what we found out with Brock Purdy, who went 8-0. Jay Croucher.
Trey Lance.
He might have higher upside, but it's just like that's a team built to win the Super Bowl, and you can't be going like, well, let's see what we got.
How long
can
you chase it? How long can you chase the upside?
Exactly. When they have a window.
His upside ain't Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson type upside. That's what I tell you. Trey Lance ain't got
the same runner.
Yeah, it ain't like that.
All right.